Hi, I'm Milena Regos with Out and About Marketing, and I want to talk to you today about Twitter essentials for business. How to get going, what tools there are available to save you time, and how to measure your success. This tutorial is pretty beginner entry. However, we will talk a little bit about some power tweeting tips to really use the power of Twitter. So, what are some of the challenges that we run into when we think about Twitter? Some of them are it takes too much time, it's just for young people, it's too confusing maybe to understand the lingo and figure out what it's all about, or you just don't see the value in it for business. So, I'll try to address all of these challenges. Obviously, some very famous people are on Twitter and using it very successfully. Twitter has been used to change countries' governments. It's been used for fast news, faster than mainstream media. A lot of businesses and large corporations are seeing really, really good successes with Twitter. We see its advantages during the Super Bowl. It's great for instantaneous communication, so it can be ignored from a business perspective. It's great for customer service. It's great for increased reach, and it's just one of my favorite social networks. So I want to tell you a personal story with Tony Hsieh. He's the CEO of Zappos, who I follow on Twitter, and together with another 2+ million people. So when I was first getting into Twitter, my husband, who's Australian, wanted to know what's the value of Twitter. And I said, well, I followed Tony Hsieh. And he said, well, so what? And one thing led to another. He wanted me to ask Tony, how come Zappos.com, Zappos is a big shoe company, how come Zappos.com doesn't carry Blundstone boots, which back then were one of his favorite Australian brands. So I sent a tweet to Tony and never expecting a response back, of course. Within 48 hours, he got back to me and put me in touch with his VP of Business Development. And a few months later, Zappos was carrying Blundstones. So from a consumer standpoint, I love that instantaneous getting in touch with brands and with CEOs thanks to Twitter. From a company perspective, I like the fact that you have this huge pool of instant feedback from your consumers you can use for business development, you can use to test new products, and you can also improve your customer service. So I really, really believe that Twitter is here to stay, and I hope it is, or some sort of communication that's similar to Twitter if it ever goes away. So a little bit about me. I've been involved with marketing for the past 19-20 years, heavily on the digital side. I've had the pleasure to work with some great companies in Eastern Europe as well as in the US. And I started my company Out and About Marketing in 2009. My goal is to help companies improve their digital marketing and provide products and services that are of value to people. Social media is a big focus of what I do. And I like to every once in a while talk to people about digital marketing and social media. In my free time when I'm not in front of the computer, I like to engage in various sports activities like skiing and paddleboarding and mountain biking. I started with Twitter in 2006 and I've been on it since then. I've met some incredible people on Twitter who later on I've met in real life, and I really enjoy having that connection with various people with just 140 characters. Some Twitter stats: about a third of the internet users are currently using Twitter, and 27.4% of all Twitter users are in the US. So the rest are in the rest of the world. Most of the half of the users are using Twitter via mobile devices. It's a very quick and easy way to just stay in touch with using your phone. And about a third of marketers are generating leads using Twitter. So obviously marketers are figuring out ways that they can measure their success with Twitter. So let's dive into Twitter. What is Twitter? It's a public chat. It's a kind of considered a microblog. It's mobile friendly. You send messages to each other in 140 characters, but you can include a link in that message, and you can shorten the link so it's not a really long URL in there. It's a great way to meet people. Like I said, I've met some great people on Twitter who later on I've met in real life, and you can find out what's happening around you. You can follow the news. You can follow people in your industry and just stay more educated and stay on top of your industry trends. Twitter, according to this latest research from Global Web Index, is also the fastest growing social platform in the world. So I don't think it's going anyway. If you're not already on Twitter for your business, it's definitely time to join in. Let's go over some Twitter lingo. We have mention, which is when someone sends you a tweet and they address your Twitter handle with the @ in front. There is a retweet when you put the RT in front of the tweet. And when you do that, you normally would send an original tweet out to all of your followers. A hashtag is a word with the # in front of it, and it's a great way to allow people to follow a discussion. It's used for chats, Twitter chats, greatly used for conferences, and the research also says that tweets with hashtags increase engagement quite a bit. Just warning on that, just don't overdo using hashtags. Some people just tweet with hashtags, and it's kind of annoying for the rest of us. Then you have followers and following, and the difference is people who follow you versus people who you follow. A direct message is a private tweet that you can take the conversation off line in a direct message. Somebody who follows you, and that way it's a private communication between you and that person, and it's not public to the rest of the world. So sometimes it's very advisable that you take conversations in a direct message way. Lists are a way to organize your following, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on. And you have links that you use a URL shortener to abbreviate links in your URLs. And then favorites. There's some tools that you can use. Favorites as a way for bookmark to read later tweets, or you can just use favorites as a kind of a like, similar to Facebook. So here's what a tweet looks like in 140 characters. A good example from the Regatta bar using a hashtag, a mention to USA Today, and an abbreviated link. And since this is open from twitter.com, you also have the options of replying, retweeting, or favoriting that tweet. 140 characters is actually a lot more than it seems. Richard Branson did a contest one time asking for people to send him business plans in 140 characters. And because of the fact that you can actually have a link in your tweet, I mean, you can send people to websites, blogs, videos, images, anything you like. So to get an account, obviously go to twitter.com, put in your name, email, password, and complete the process. And if you're getting your account for business, there's certain elements and graphic designs that you can use it with your Twitter profile to really tell the story of your brand. So putting your name, your Twitter handle, what you do, telling the story as to why people should connect with you, who's behind the Twitter account is something I really like to see when I talk to companies, and just making it visually appealing and staying consistent with your brand. So here's the inside of twitter.com. You're looking at my profile, and if you go to the home section at the very top, that's going to show you all the tweets of everybody you follow. So if you follow more than 100 people, it's going to be really hard to stay on top of that, and that's where lists come in handy. Then you can use in the me section, you can see all the tweets that you have sent or retweeted. In the connect section, you can see all of your interactions, so mentions and interactions with people. And then you have some suggested from twitter.com accounts that you should connect with. And then in the discover section, you'll see more suggestions as to who you can follow, as well as you can find your friends from your email system, browse some categories, and get some more interesting people to follow. Now, if that's not enough, you can always use Twello to find more people to follow. Twello is like the yellow page directory for Twitter. It's organized by categories. While you're in there, you should add yourself to that category as well. More people will be able to find you that way. So check it out, twello.com. I mentioned that there's some tools to help you with your productivity and Twitter experience. One of my favorite ones is Hootsuite. It's a third-party provider. Hootsuite makes the Twitter experience a lot better, in my opinion, than twitter.com. Sign up for Hootsuite. They have a free version. They also have a pro version, which is $9.95 a month. And here's the inside of my Hootsuite dashboard. So I've organized my followers by lists, and I have my various social networks that I can tweet from. I can schedule messages, I can add links, I can actually connect my Hootsuite with my Google Plus and my LinkedIn and Facebook, so it kind of manages your entire social media and saves you tons of time as opposed to going in and out of different platforms. So I really recommend that you check out Hootsuite. It's a very affordable way to improve your Twitter experience and get up to speed really fast. Some best practices to go over. Some people say Twitter is like a big cocktail party, so show up, start talking to people, be personable, be engaging, listen. A great practice that I'll highly recommend is to just start conversations. It's about the only thing really that I have found works really well on Twitter. You can send messages all day long, but you need to actually talk to people. You need to be consistent and spend 10 to 15 minutes each day. You can always plan your tweets in advance for the tweets that are not the everyday engagement tweets, but you can schedule some through Hootsuite.com. And the power of Twitter is not necessarily in your network, but the power of Twitter is in the other people's networks that you can reach. So by sharing interesting content and connecting with other people in your industry, you will see how your message gets shared virally a lot faster than if it's just your own network. A few interesting places where to find interesting content, at least the ones that have been working for me. alltop.com. It's like a personal magazine, and you can subscribe to different topics and websites. Feedly is another similar. You can get your RSS feeds in Feedly. On my iPad, I use Flipboard and Zeit, and of course, your own network would be a great place where you can find interesting content from the people who you already know. So what can you measure? Just a few examples here as to what you can measure with Twitter. Obviously, different companies will have different goals. The easiest one would be number of followers, but you can also measure your reach, your engagement in a way of retweets and mentions, your clicks, how your influence is increasing, what kind of web traffic you're generating from your Twitter, and how many leads and sales you're getting. Just quick, down and dirty, the main measurements that I would look at if I was looking at my company's tweeting account. So a few tools that can help you in that area. Social Bro is a great tool to help you improve your Twitter experience and reach more people. Tweet Reach will show you how many people you've reached with a specific tweet or with your account. Buffer is a great add-on to schedule your tweets. You can just go in and add a whole bunch of tweets to Buffer, and it shares them and it optimizes them and puts them up on Twitter on the best time it is to tweet. 20 feet will give you like a quick overview of your main activities and measurements on Twitter. Bitly is a third-party abbreviated link, which also has some great analytics behind it. Twitterlizer, it's kind of like Google Analytics for Twitter. It's really deep. It goes into various measurements for Twitter. Social Oomph is a great productivity tool to improve your Twitter and increase your followers. Obviously, Google Analytics, it will show you how many, what kind of traffic you're getting from Twitter. And Cloud and Cred are two systems that measure online influence. So seeing how the online influence changes based on your tweeting would be a great benchmark to have. So a few case studies on what's the ROI of Twitter. I pulled a couple of case studies. One is from Bonobos. They saw an increase of 1,200%. This was supplemented with some Twitter advertising, which is available on manual approach as well as working with Twitter themselves. So that's some pretty good increase in ROI there. The second one was more organic Twitter engagement for Auterion, which is a social media monitoring system that was all done via Twitter. And these are the stats of how well Twitter worked out for them, increasing customer base 840% in 1 year by just using Twitter. So Twitter works. Twitter definitely works. I would say set your goals before you get into tweeting and come up with some little plan as to how you can go after your goals and set the right measurements, and just be consistent and don't give up. Some power tweeting tips for those of you who are more advanced and have experience with Twitter. If you tweet between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m., you will see a 30% higher engagement. This is unlike Facebook, which is more on the outside. Tweets that contain less than 100 characters receive 17% engagement, so keep it short, allow space for people to retweet. Include links. People tweets with links are retweeted 86% more than ones without. Hashtags receive 200% more engagement than those without. And sometimes it's okay to ask your followers to retweet. Don't do it every single time, but every once in a while it's okay to ask people to retweet. So these retweets can get up to 1,200% more retweet rates than if you don't ask. Obviously, have a call to action there. So hopefully this solved some of the challenges we had at the beginning of this webinar. It's not just for kids and young people. Obviously, a lot of them are on Twitter, but it's also very, very successful for businesses. Once you get the hang of it, all you need to do is spend 10-15 minutes on Twitter daily. Hopefully this webinar got some of the confusion out as to how to get going in the right direction, and I gave you some of my tools to use that I have spent hours and hours testing different tools, and there's a million out there that are Twitter related, so I gave you some of the best that I have found work really well. And set a good strategy before you get into Twitter, and set the tools to allow you to measure your Twitter experience, and you'll start seeing results. So that was it for today's Twitter webinar. Hopefully that was very helpful to you. If you have any questions, please send them to Milena at outandaboutmarketing.com, or send me a tweet at Milena Regos, and stay tuned for more webinars from Out and About Marketing. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.